My reflexes lived in the place where the match used to strike, and my mind would lose those bits of knowledge that keep us serene, at least if we are American. In the throes of not smoking, I might rent a car and never notice whether it was a Ford or a Chrysler. That can be seen as the beginning of the end. On one occasion, when I did not smoke, I went on a long trip with a girl I loved named Madeline to meet up with a married couple who wanted to have a weekend of wife swapping. We indulged them. Driving back, Madeline and I had a quarrel, and I wrecked the car. Madeline's insides were badly hurt. I went back to smoking. I used to say, it's easier to give up the love of your life than to kick cigarettes, and suspect I was right in such a remark. But then last month, 24 days ago, my wife took off. 24 days ago, I learned a little more about addiction. It may be simpler to give up love than dispense with your smokes, but when it comes to saying goodbye to love and hate, that reliable standby of the head shrinkers, the love-hate relationship. Why, ending your marriage is easily as difficult as relinquishing your nicotine, and much the same. For I can tell you that after 12 years, I had gotten to hate the filthy stuff just so much as a bitter wife. Even the first inhale of the morning, whose sure bliss once seemed the ineradicable reason I could never give up tobacco, had now become a convulsion of coughing. No more might remain than the addiction itself, but addiction is still a signature on the bottom line of your psyche. That is how it was with my marriage, now that Patty Lorraine was gone. If I had loved her once while knowing her frightful faults, even as we smoke like happy fiends and shrug away the thought of a lung cancer still decades away, so did I always perceive that Patty Lorraine could be my doom around the bend of some treacherous evening. Yet so be it. I adored her. Who knew? Love might inspire us to transcend our dire fevers. That was years ago. Now, for the last year and more, we had been trying to kick the habit of each other. Intimate detestations had grown each season until they rooted out all the old pockets of good humor. I had come to dislike her as much as my morning cigarette, which, indeed, I had at last given up. After 12 years, I felt finally free of the largest addiction of my life. That is, until the night she left. That was the night I discovered that losing my wife was a heavier trip. Before her departure, I had not had a cigarette for all of a year. Patty Lorraine and I might, on the consequence, fight ferociously. But I was quits at last with my Camels. Small hope. 2 hours after she drove off, I took up one coffin nail from a half-empty pack Patty left behind, and was, in 2 days of battling myself, hooked once again. Now that she was gone, I began each day with the most horrendous convulsion of my spirit. God, I choked in cataracts of misery. For with the return of this bummer habit came back every bit of the old longing for Patty Lorraine. Each cigarette smelled in my mouth like an ashtray, but it was not tar I sniffed, rather my own charring flesh. Such is the odor of funk and loss. Well, as I indicated, I do not remember how I spent my 24th day. My clearest recollection is yawping over that first cigarette, strangling the smoke down. Later, after 4 or 5, I was sometimes able to inhale in peace, thereby cauterizing what I had come to decide, with no great respect for myself, must be the wound of my life. How much more I longed for Patty Lorraine than I wished to. In those 24 days I did my best to see no one. I stayed at home. I did not always wash. I drank as if the great river of our blood is carried by bourbon, not water. I was, to put a 4-letter word on it, a mess. In summer, it might have been more obvious to others what a sorry hour I was in, but this was late in the fall.